Chosen one, listen to me carefully. What I am about to share is not for everyone. This message is urgent, sacred, and divinely guarded. If you are not walking the true path of God, if your heart is not aligned with His will, you should not be here. Only God's chosen ones will feel drawn to this moment. And the fact that you are listening right now tells me everything I need to know. This message reached you at the exact time heaven intended. Not early, not late, perfect. Something already happened in the spiritual realm concerning you, a shift so profound that even the archangels stood still in awe. Yet you, chosen one, are still unaware of what truly took place. Heaven moved while you were enduring, praying, and surviving. And today, God allows me to speak so your spirit can finally understand. Stay with me till the end, because what you are about to realize will bring you peace, clarity, and a deep sense of divine reassurance. This is not hype. This is revelation.
Who the chosen ones really are when they begin to surpass others. Let me speak to you plainly now, chosen one, because confusion often enters when elevation begins. When you start surpassing those around you, it does not mean you have become better than them. It means you have become obedient to God in ways they have not. That is an important distinction. Many chosen ones struggle here because they were taught to shrink themselves in order to keep peace. But God never called you to stay small so others could remain comfortable. Surpassing others does not always look like success on the outside. Sometimes it looks like clarity when others are lost, peace when others are anxious, discipline when others are distracted. You start seeing through things you once tolerated. Conversations no longer satisfy you. Certain habits fall off naturally. You don't force growth. It simply happens because your spirit has matured. And when that maturity shows up, even quietly, it creates a shift. Here is what most people never tell you. Chosen ones often surpass others internally long before anything changes externally. Your mind sharpens. Your discernment deepens. You begin to sense motives without evidence. You feel called to step back instead of reacting. This inner growth is powerful, but it is also dangerous if you do not understand it. Because people respond more to who you are becoming than to what you say or do. When God begins to elevate you, He changes your frequency. And not everyone can stay connected to a higher frequency. This is why you may notice people becoming uncomfortable around you for no clear reason. You didn't insult them, you didn't compete with them, you didn't change toward them. You simply grew. And growth exposes contrast. Chosen ones are often the most misunderstood people in the room. When you surpass others spiritually or mentally, your silence is misinterpreted as pride. Your boundaries are labeled as coldness. Your discipline is mistaken for judgment. But let me say this firmly. You are not responsible for how others interpret your obedience. You are responsible for staying aligned with God. There is also something else happening beneath the surface. When you surpass others, you stop needing validation. You stop explaining yourself. You stop chasing approval. And that alone unsettles people who are still operating from insecurity. Your calm becomes threatening to those who rely on chaos. Your focus becomes intimidating to those who avoid responsibility. And your peace becomes offensive to those who are at war within themselves. This is why chosen ones must be careful not to confuse humility with self-denial. True humility is knowing who you are and still choosing love. False humility is pretending you are less than what God has made you to be. God did not elevate you so you could apologize for it. He elevated you so you could walk in authority with grace. As you surpass others, you may notice that your tolerance for drama decreases. You no longer find entertainment in gossip. You are no longer energized by crowds that once excited you. This does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your spirit has outgrown certain environments. Growth always demands separation. Even Jesus withdrew often, not because he hated people, but because he understood the cost of constant access. Let me calm your heart here. Surpassing others is not a rejection of them. It is an acceptance of your assignment. And your assignment requires a different level of awareness, discipline, and restraint. You cannot move the same way you used to. You cannot speak carelessly anymore. Your words carry weight now. Your presence carries influence, even when you are quiet. Many chosen ones feel guilt during this stage. They wonder why they feel distant, why they can't connect the same way, why old relationships feel heavy. That guilt is unnecessary. God is pruning, not punishing. He is refining your capacity, not stripping your compassion. You can still love people deeply without allowing them full access to your inner world. Understand this clearly. When you surpass others, you become more visible in the spiritual realm, even if you remain unseen physically. And visibility attracts attention. Some of it is admiration, some of it is resistance, some of it is silent observation. This is why wisdom becomes more important than explanation. Not everyone deserves to understand your journey. You are not becoming isolated because you are difficult. You are becoming selective because you are valuable. Chosen ones learn this lesson the hard way if they do not hear it early. Access to you must be earned through alignment, not history. Just because someone knew the old version of you does not mean they are entitled to the new one. And let me say something that may challenge you. Surpassing others does not make you untouchable. It makes you responsible. Responsible for your reactions. Responsible for your spirit. Responsible for not letting bitterness grow where discernment was meant to live. You must guard your heart, but you must not harden it. God trusts you with elevation because he trusts your heart. But elevation reveals what still needs healing. That is why this stage feels intense. You are rising while being refined. You are being strengthened while being tested. And if you do not understand who you are in this season, you may either shrink back out of fear or become defensive out of pride. Neither is God's will for you. You are chosen to lead by example, not by dominance. To stand firm, not loud. To walk in authority, not arrogance. And as you surpass those around you, remember this. You are not ahead of them. You are assigned differently. Your path is narrower, your training is deeper, and your responsibility is heavier. Take a deep breath. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not imagining this shift. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. And clarity always changes how you relate to the world around you. In the next part, I need to speak to you about the real danger that appears once this shift becomes noticeable. Not to frighten you, but to prepare you. Because awareness is protection, and God does not elevate his chosen ones without first giving them wisdom. The real danger. Nobody talks about when you outgrow your circle. Chosen one, now I need you to listen even more carefully. This is where many people get it wrong. The real danger when you surpass those around you is not success. It is not elevation. It is not even visibility. The real danger is what begins to shift quietly in the hearts of people who are still close to you while you are changing. Most chosen ones expect opposition from strangers. They expect resistance from the outside world. What they are rarely prepared for is the subtle tension that begins to grow among familiar faces. People who once celebrated you may begin to study you. People who once supported you may become strangely distant. Not openly hostile, just different. And because chosen ones are naturally empathetic, this shift can be deeply confusing. Let me make this very clear so your mind can rest. This is not happening because you did something wrong. It is happening because growth exposes contrast. When light increases, shadows become more visible. And some people are uncomfortable being reminded of what they are not yet ready to confront within themselves. Here is the danger. When you surpass others, especially spiritually or mentally, you trigger unspoken comparison. Even if you never compare yourself to anyone, others may begin comparing themselves to you. And comparison, when mixed with insecurity, quietly turns into resentment, not always hatred. Sometimes it shows up as sarcasm, sometimes as silence, sometimes as passive distance, sometimes as advice that subtly discourages your growth. Chosen ones often miss this stage because they assume everyone around them is evolving at the same pace. But spiritual growth is not democratic. God works individually, and when He accelerates your growth, it creates imbalance in relationships that were once equal in maturity or awareness. This is where many chosen ones make a costly mistake. They over-explain. They try to shrink themselves. They dull their clarity to avoid making others uncomfortable. They silence their intuition so they can maintain harmony. But listen to me. Peace that requires self-betrayal is not peace. It is avoidance. And avoidance will eventually cost you more than honesty ever will. Another danger is emotional exposure. As you surpass others, your words carry more weight, even when you are casual. Your silence carries meaning, even when you are simply resting. People watch you more closely now. They interpret you more. They project onto you. And if you are not careful, you may find yourself absorbing emotions that were never yours to carry. Let me tell you something important. Not everyone who smiles at you is aligned with you, and not everyone who disagrees with you is against you. Discernment is required here. The danger is not in being seen. The danger is in being accessible without boundaries. Chosen ones who do not protect their emotional and spiritual space often feel drained without understanding why. There is also a spiritual layer to this danger that few people talk about calmly. When you surpass others, especially in obedience to God, you become more noticeable in the spiritual realm. That does not mean you should be afraid. Fear is not wisdom, but awareness is necessary. Increased calling brings increased resistance, not always from people, but through distractions, confusion, and emotional fatigue. Some chosen ones experience sudden doubt during this stage. They begin questioning decisions they were once confident about. They feel mental fog without a clear cause. They feel emotionally heavy even during peaceful moments. This is not weakness. This is resistance trying to slow momentum, and resistance always appears quietly before it becomes obvious. Another danger is isolation without understanding. You may feel pulled to withdraw, but not know why. Conversations feel shallow. Social settings feel draining. You feel misunderstood even when nothing is wrong. If you do not understand this season, you may interpret it as loneliness or rejection. But in truth, it is recalibration. God is adjusting your internal world to match where He is taking you. However, without wisdom, this isolation can turn into bitterness. That is the real risk. When chosen ones do not process this season correctly, they may harden their hearts instead of guarding them. They may confuse discernment with suspicion. They may withdraw completely instead of selectively, and that is not what God desires. You can care deeply without needing constant affirmation. You can serve without overextending. You can listen without absorbing every emotion. This emotional balance is learned, not automatic. Humility must remain central. Not humility that denies your calling, but humility that acknowledges God as the source. You walk confidently without arrogance. You stand firm without becoming rigid. Authority expressed with gentleness is powerful. Be careful not to confuse wisdom with coldness. You may speak less, but your words should still carry kindness. You may engage less, but your heart should remain soft. Guarded does not mean closed. Selective does not mean detached. Another shift you must embrace is patience. Growth often slows external results while internal strength increases. Do not rush outcomes. Rushing invites error. Trust timing. What God is building in you requires precision, not speed. Let me address reactions. You will encounter misunderstanding. Some people will interpret your boundaries as rejection, your silence as judgment, your focus as pride. You cannot control perception. You can only control integrity. Stay consistent. Time will clarify what explanations cannot. You must also learn when to disengage. Not every conversation deserves your participation. Not every conflict deserves your energy. Peace is not avoidance when it is chosen intentionally. It is wisdom. Jesus moved this way. He loved deeply, yet he often withdrew. He served many, yet he chose his inner circle carefully. He spoke truth, yet he did not argue endlessly. His authority came from alignment, not debate. As you move differently, stay anchored in prayer, not rushed prayers, honest ones. Prayer keeps your heart soft while your boundaries stay firm. It reminds you that you are guided, not alone. Let me reassure you, you are not becoming distant because you do not care. You are becoming disciplined because you do. Discipline protects what matters most. You are learning to walk with awareness, to listen before speaking, to observe before reacting, to pause before deciding. These pauses are not hesitation. They are wisdom in motion. Do not apologize for becoming more intentional. Do not feel guilty for choosing peace. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. You are not called to fit in. You are called to stand aligned. As you move through this season, remember this. God did not elevate you to isolate you permanently. He elevated you to prepare you properly. And when you are released into the next phase, you will carry strength without hardness, clarity without pride, and authority without losing your heart. In the next part, I will show you what waits on the other side of this season. Because this is not the end of your journey. It is the refinement before the reward. There is another adjustment you must make in how you move, and this one is subtle but powerful. You must stop seeking emotional closure from people who cannot give it. Not everyone will understand why you changed. Not everyone will apologize for misunderstanding you, and not everyone will acknowledge your growth. Waiting for that validation will keep you emotionally tied to places God is calling you out of. Moving differently means accepting that some chapters end without explanations. Peace often comes from release, not resolution. When you stop needing others to agree with your path, your spirit becomes lighter. You free yourself from unnecessary emotional weight. You will also learn to trust your discernment more than your emotions. Emotions fluctuate. Discernment remains steady. There will be moments when you feel unsure, but deep within, you know what is right. Honor that knowing. God speaks through it often. Another shift is how you handle kindness. You do not need to overgive to prove you are still good. Your goodness is not measured by how much you sacrifice yourself. True love is balanced. It nourishes both giver and receiver. Overextension is not holiness. It is imbalance. You may also notice that your reactions soften. Things that once triggered you no longer have the same power. This is growth. Emotional maturity is not the absence of feeling. It is the ability to feel without being controlled. When you respond calmly where you once reacted emotionally, you are witnessing the fruit of refinement. Let me remind you of this truth. Being chosen does not mean being perfect. It means being willing to adjust, willing to learn, willing to release what no longer serves God's purpose in your life. Flexibility keeps your heart alive. As you move differently, keep gratitude close. Gratitude grounds you. It keeps pride from growing and discouragement from taking root. Thank God not only for progress, but for protection. Not only for clarity, but for correction. You are learning how to walk gently without being weak, firmly without being harsh, and confidently without being loud. This balance is rare, and it is exactly why God trusts you with it. The reward on the other side of this dangerous season. Chosen one, let me lift your eyes now. I know this journey has felt heavy at times. I know there were moments when you wondered if all this refining, all this separation, all this pressure was worth it. This is where I speak to your spirit with certainty. There is a reward on the other side of this season, and it is deeper than you imagine. The reward is not just external success, it is internal stability. You will notice one day that things which once disturbed you no longer have power over you. Situations that once triggered anxiety now meet calm. Opinions that once shook your confidence now pass without effect. This is not because life becomes easier, but because you become anchored. One of the greatest rewards is peace that does not depend on circumstances. Not fragile peace, not temporary relief, but steady peace. Peace that remains even when things are unclear. Peace that holds you when answers are delayed. This peace is rare, and it only comes through refinement. You will also notice clarity returning, but this time without urgency. Decisions feel lighter. Direction feels natural. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop chasing confirmation. You move with quiet confidence because you trust the process that shaped you. This clarity allows you to act decisively without anxiety. Another reward is divine alignment. God begins to bring the right people into your life at the right time. These connections feel different. There is no competition, no confusion, no need to prove yourself. Conversations flow. Mutual respect is present. These people do not drain you, they strengthen you. They see you clearly because they are aligned with where you are going, not who you used to be. You also gain authority without effort. You no longer need to assert yourself. Your presence speaks. Your words carry weight because they are measured and intentional. You listen more than you speak, yet when you do speak, people listen. This authority is not dominance, it is credibility built through integrity. Another reward is emotional freedom. You stop carrying guilt for choosing yourself. You stop feeling responsible for other people's discomfort with your growth. You understand that love does not require self-neglect. This freedom allows you to love others sincerely without losing yourself. You may also notice a renewed joy. Not loud excitement, but quiet contentment. Joy that comes from knowing you are where you are supposed to be. Joy that does not need constant stimulation. Joy that feels calm and grounded. This joy sustains you through both abundance and waiting. God also rewards obedience with protection. Situations that once could have harmed you no longer reach you. Opportunities that were not meant for you pass by without regret. You begin to see how delays were actually safeguards, how closed doors prevented future pain. This awareness builds trust. There is also an expansion of purpose. You begin to understand why you had to go through what you did. Your experiences gain meaning. Your pain becomes wisdom. Your struggles become tools to help others. You no longer resent the process because you see its fruit. Another reward is resilience. You realize how strong you have become. Not hardened, but steady. You can handle pressure without collapsing. You can face uncertainty without panic. You can stand alone without fear. This strength changes how you approach life. You also develop discernment that feels natural. You sense alignment quickly. You recognize red flags without overthinking. You trust your intuition because it has been sharpened through experience. This discernment keeps you safe without making you suspicious. Let me tell you something important. When this season passes, you will not be the same person who entered it. You will be wiser, calmer, more grounded, and more secure in who God created you to be. You will move with purpose instead of reaction, with faith instead of fear. The reward is not perfection, it is alignment. It is knowing you are walking in step with God, even when the path is narrow. It is the confidence that comes from surviving refinement without losing your heart. And here is the most beautiful part. You will no longer chase what God has already promised. You will attract it naturally. Because when you are aligned, what is meant for you recognizes you. This dangerous season was not meant to break you. It was meant to prepare you. And now, as you step forward, you do so with clarity, peace, and authority. In the final part, I will speak to you one last time to seal this message in your spirit, so you can walk forward without fear, doubt, or hesitation. Conclusion. Final counsel and divine confirmation. Chosen one, take a moment and breathe. What you have been experiencing is not confusion, it is transition. What you have felt is not loss, it is alignment. And what you have feared at times is not danger meant to destroy you, but refinement meant to protect you. You were never meant to remain where you started. God's hand has been on you from the beginning, and this season proves it. The pressure you felt was not meant to crush you, it was meant to shape you, and the distance that formed around you was not rejection, it was divine positioning. Remember this clearly. When you surpass those around you, you do not rise alone. God walks with you. He goes before you. He guards what He elevates. You are not exposed. You are covered. You are not behind. You are right on time. Do not shrink yourself to fit into spaces God has already moved you out of. Do not carry guilt for becoming who God called you to be. And do not fear the quiet seasons. They are where your strength was built. Walk forward calmly. Speak less, observe more, and trust deeply. You do not need to prove your calling. You need to live it. Consistency will speak for you. Time will defend you, and God will establish you. Before we part, chosen ones, if this message resonated with your spirit, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on the bell icon, and share this message with other chosen ones who need this confirmation. And comment 777 in the comments as a declaration that you are aligned, protected, and walking boldly in your divine assignment. Stay grounded, stay faithful, and remember, God never elevates without purpose.